I don't think it's worth it. When do we get to the good part? I warned you. I warned you. So I have some more de-influencing to do. I have thought of some more plants that I have been influenced by, whether it's through like easy care plant lists or through looking at beautiful pictures on Instagram that people have recommended to me that just like haven't worked out. I am going to share those with you today in today's video. If you haven't seen my first de-influencing video, I highly recommend you go and watch that as well. I will link it down below in the description and in the little clickable button up here, so you can go watch that if you fancy as well. See the other plants that I think you might not need to get. A disclaimer, if you want to get these plants, I don't want to stop you from getting them. If you like them and if they're growing well for you, fantastic. I am just sharing with you my experience with these plants and what I've found just like did not live up to the expectation that Instagram and the internet had set up for me with them, and like how big and beautiful and amazing they could be. So yeah, I am still going to show you what they look like over on Instagram. So you might be influenced by these like reels and posts because they are beautiful, and like you can totally see why I got sucked in to wanting them and getting them, but like they just didn't live up to those expectations, and it's fine. Before we get into that though, I want to say if you're new here and you don't know me already, hi, my name is Emma and I make houseplanting content all over the internet. So if you want to follow along with my houseplanting journey and maybe learn something along the way, stick around, watch some more of my videos, and subscribe to my channel. If you are not new here, welcome back. I really appreciate it. Let us get into this video. The first thing that I want to talk about, I have a caveat from my last video. I kind of said a lot of anthuriums you don't really need, especially the hybrids and stuff. There's so many out there that you just don't need to get all of them. If you want to, fine. I just like, it's just so much, and they require quite a lot of attention, and they need very specific conditions as well. But I have come back with a new statement. You only need 3 anthuriums. So my thought on this, and I think the general consensus with my followers and commenters and stuff like that, has been that you need 3. So one that's a sort of velvety, veiny, dark anthurium, maybe going towards like the crystallinum red or a normal crystallinum. You can go Warwickwianum, you can go Regal. They do tend to be finicky. If you want something that's the easiest, Clarinervium, that's your option. Second one, you need something long and strappy. For that, I recommend the Pallidiflorum. You could try the other ones, the Vitirifolium and the Wendlingeri or whatever. I'm sure those are perfectly fine. And then the last one, I personally don't have, but people have suggested, and for texture purposes, it does kind of make sense, having something like a Luxurians or a Radicans with the sort of more leathery, waxy, but like crinkly leaves. People really recommend those. Everything outside of that, you don't really need, unless you really want to get them all, but they all pretty much look the same. And so I can de-influence you from all of them except for those 3, which I think that's a pretty fair choice in that. I personally don't feel like I need to have a Luxurians. It's not really my cup of tea, but I can see why people like them, and if you want it, go get it, that's fine, but you don't need more than that. Up next, we have the philodendron tortum. I think these plants are so pretty and so cool and look fantastic online. These leaves, the way they come in, they look like weird skeleton hands. I love it. I absolutely love the philodendron tortum in looks, online, in photographs and videos. Fantastic. In my life, in my home, I could not get it to grow as well as I've seen them online. I really struggled with the slowness of the growth on one that I got. I've tried it multiple times even. One was like really slow. It took ages to do anything. The other was definitely faster, and I definitely got more growth with that one. But I found that both of them tended to be pest magnets. There's lots of kind of nooks and crannies. I had spider mites on some, I had thrips on some, and they are really difficult to sort of wipe down. They're difficult to clean off because of all of the little like things that's going on with the leaves. And so it's just a little bit too, it's just not worth it, I don't think. I also found that like they can grow really leggy, and when they're growing leggy, they don't look as good. They look really nice, in my opinion, when they're nice and compact and like bushy, and they look really nice. They do look like they need a whole heck of a lot of space as well, though. The like footprint on the tortums I see are often quite large because they do just spread out. And there's only so much room I have for plants that do that in my home as well. So if you're interested in the tortum and you don't have the space, probably, unfortunately, it's not the best bet. And you could probably, I don't know what like the alternative would be for it. It's really cool, and I've just accepted that I'm going to admire them from afar and look at the pretty ones online, and then not have to deal with the stress and the pests of getting a tortum for myself again in my home now. Another philodendron that's actually rising in popularity again because a pink version has come out, the philodendron birkin. This was all the freaking rage in 2020. Like, oh my goodness, they were like the biggest thing. It was hard to get your hands on them, and then they suddenly like were out in markets and like you could get them quite easily. And they're so cool and pretty and stripy, but they struggle so much. I have found that they either revert and go back to the classic green, or they go all white. And so you regularly have to like keep chopping them back in order to like get back to growth that is like viable and gives you the vibes you want. Because like the green growth is viable, but like it's not giving you the nice shiny stripy birkin vibes. And so it's just, I didn't think it was very worth it. The pink ones that are coming out, they are kind of cool. I personally prefer the whiter ones than the pink ones. That's personal preference. But you could get one. I also found that their leaves did tend to get stuck in the sort of petiole cataphyll when they're emerging. They were a very sticky one. And so it did cause some of the leaves to come out a little bit more warped or weird. And so while they're like an easy plant and fairly accessible, it's difficult to get them to continue to grow well because like the variegation in them is not completely stable. So you can get one and it could be absolutely fine. Just be warned that it very well could not. I warned you. I've got a Hoya to de-influence you from. Which is a surprise because I do like most Hoyas. I actually have 2 on this list. But this first one, there is a caveat to it. So it is the Hoya kerrii, but it is not like a vining one. It is the Hoya kerrii where it's just a heart leaf inside of a pot. Do not buy that plant because the likelihood of it growing is slim to none. It is possible. I've seen some online that end up having a bit of node in that stem cutting and are able to produce new growth. But for the most part, they will root in there, but they don't have the sort of stem node tissue needed to produce new vines and new growth. And so you're basically getting a plant that is slowly going to die, unfortunately. And like it will never produce any new growth. And like I've seen videos of people like waiting on their Hoya kerrii to grow. It's not gonna grow. It's just not. And like these especially pop up around sort of holidays and Valentine's Day and stuff because they're heart-shaped, they're cute, they're stinking cute, but they'll do nothing. And it's just sad that this has become such a gimmick. But I guess is it similar to buying someone cut flowers, like something that you know this is going to die eventually, it's not going to do anything, but it's cute? I don't know. I just don't think it's worth it. Like if you're going to get somebody a houseplant, get them like one that's going to grow. Does that make sense? I don't believe in it. I think it's silly. I would love to get like a proper big kerrii, maybe like an inner or outer variegated one with the vines and stuff. They're super, super stunning, but it's not the heart in the pot. It just will not work, and they're cheap as chips as well. Actually, I saw some online as well that were like 15 pounds for a variegated one, the heart in the pot. 15 pounds for something that's going to do nothing? Whew, that just seems like a scam. Like how did we decide that this was an acceptable thing to do? to sell you a plant that's not going to grow. Like, fine if it's plastic, sure, but like this is a real life plant. And you, like, people, I'm sure people buy them because they sell them in plant shops. I'm sure people buy them thinking that they're going to grow and get bigger. Nah. It's just a bit unfortunate. It's just sad. I'm really sad about it, to be honest. I wish it didn't happen. I wish all the Hoya kerrii out there were like big, beautiful, viney ones, because also I think they're so pretty. But that they also become like much more expensive because like they're not as common and they're a little bit of a slow grower as well. The other Hoya I have on my list is the slowest grower in the world. It is the Hoya compacta. And I'm not saying don't buy one. I'm just gonna de-influence you from buying a small one because they grow so slowly. Oh my freaking God, they're slow. So if you want a big, beautiful one, you have to buy a big, beautiful one. There is, like, it just, you cannot. I mean, you can, it just takes ages. It feels like it'll take decades for you to grow a nice, big, beautiful one. You might have like one long vine after a couple of years. Cool, great. But like, if you want the like big, beautiful, traily ones that you see, and like the beautiful flowers that apparently smell like chocolate, really cool. But do not get it from a little one. Do not get it from a small propagation or cutting. It'll just take too long. I had a variegated Hoya compacta, which, yes, it was variegated, and so it was gonna inherently grow slower because they do. There's less chlorophyll to produce the energy. Fine. But it just didn't do, like it kept growing new leaves, but like it didn't actually get any bigger, and I think it's just the growth pattern of this. They are compact, hence the name compacta. And so they inherently just grow slowly because they are so dense, and so it takes so long for it to get any sort of distance. And so if you want a big one, buy a big one. That's my best advice for the compacta. I mean, I think I would want a big one, maybe one day. Also, I should say, they are terrible to deal with if you have pests. I'm pretty sure at one point mine had flat mites, and that might have also helped stunt the growth. But because there's so many nooks and crannies, if you get pests on them, it is so difficult. I've seen people saying it's like their worst nightmare to get mealies on a compacta because they go and hide in all the nooks and crannies. And it's like impossible to get into all of them because Hoyas are quite firm and their leaves don't just like bend easily. And so it's almost impossible to like get inside all the little holes and nooks and crannies and gaps to try and make sure that you're able to like rid it of all of the pests. It basically seems impossible. That's another reason why I would avoid compactas. Not that I have like massive issues with mealybugs and pests, but it just seems like the worst possible plant to get a pest on. This next one I have tried about 17 billion times because everyone's like, oh my God, they're so nice, blah, 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 so easy to grow. No. If you've been here for a while, you know. Spider plants are the bane of my frickin' existence. I don't know why, I cannot get a spider plant to grow well. I find them frickin' impossible. I've been able to propagate them so easily, but as soon as I put them in the soil, they aren't happy with it ever, and they get pests really easily as well, at least in my experience, and they're hard to deal with the pests because, again, it's the long, sort of skinny. It's just not worth it. And also, maybe this is a good problem to have, but like they produce lots and lots of babies. Given I've never had one that grows babies because it's never gotten to that point because they've just never grown well enough for me. But like once they do start growing babies, they grow them all over. And personally, I don't think that looks as good. Again, personal opinion, you can think what you want. But I don't really like the vibe of like all of the babies coming off of it. I think it just looks a little bit weird. And like, what do you do with them all? Like, are you going to propagate all of them? Because that's like a whole heck of a lot of work. If I ended up having one, it would be like I would just chop all the babies off. Cause I like the shape of it, but it's like you can get that shape with something like a Dracaena instead, and not have to deal with all the babies. But I guess if you're getting it for pet safe purposes, because they are non-toxic to cats and mildly hallucinogenic, then that makes sense. Dracaenas are toxic, so like I do kind of get it. But it just feels like Everyone raves about them and how easy they are, and I think it's a lie, and I don't get it. And maybe do I just need to grow in water? Because I've been able to propagate them fine in water, in moss. I've been able to do that. So do I just need to leave them in water forever? Should I try them in semi-hydro? I feel like that's the only thing I haven't tried. I gave up on them before I got like megally into semi-hydro. But I've tried them so many times. It's like a running joke within the community now. And like whenever I've gone to plant swap and stuff, people are like, oh, you want a spider plant? And I'm like, no. But maybe if I go to a future plant swap, I need to pick some off the free table because there's always some. And then grow those. Maybe. I don't know. Do I even want to put myself through that again? I don't think so. I don't think it's worth it. And then the last one is the amydrium medium silver. Growing this from propagation is the slowest thing ever. It took ages to do anything at all. And it's a shame because these plants are gorgeous. I love the silver foliage. I love the fenestrations. They're like right up my alley. They're my kind of plant. But holy cow, I struggled with it so much. It took so long to get growing. And then once it did grow, runners. Just runners. Like not even leaves, just runners. And it was so annoying. And I know I'm not the only one who experiences that, and like you do just have to like keep cutting them back or like chopping and propping or something. But like I'm not here for plants that need that much attention and maintenance that you're like constantly having to chop back in order to try and get it to potentially look nice in the future. It just doesn't quite make sense. And this is even after I put it on a pole, like it had something to climb up, still runners everywhere. Similarly to the Esqueleto, they just kept doing runners, and it was just not. It's just not a good time. And it's sad because I think the amydrium medium is so cool. And I feel like they were kind of popular a couple years back, and they've kind of disappeared on the scene a little bit. They've never really been something you can get easily at plant shops. And so you'd have to order them online or through like a rare plant seller or like get cuttings or something. I don't think it's worth it. I think, especially if you're getting it from cuttings and you have to like grow it and propagate it from there, too slow and then too runnery. Like, when is it good? When do we get to the good part? It's such a shame because you see these gorgeous ones on like Instagram with these huge leaves and this fenestration. I love them. But I just have not found a way in which to grow them well enough for them to be worth it. So, I give up. I'm not going to buy them anymore. Maybe if I bought like a mature one, maybe. Is it even worth it? Again, probably freaking not. So yeah, those are some more plants that I can de-influence you from, that you just really, you don't need them. They're more work than they're worth. Even though they look beautiful on the internet, they're more work than they're worth. And it's just like, better, I don't want to say better safe than sorry, but like, save your money. It's going to be a waste. It's going to be wasted on these plants, in my opinion. So yeah. Anyways, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, can you give it a thumbs up down below and leave a comment on other houseplanty things you'd like me to talk about in the future. If you want more of these kind of videos, I can make more. If you fancy, I can get hate online. Actually, I mean, most of you agreed with me in the de-influencing video. There wasn't really much hate, or there wasn't really any hate on it. So maybe you'll agree with me on this one too. Anyways, subscribe for more. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to keep growing. Bye!